Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the government shutdown came to an end and the nation averted default. That's October 11th to October 17th, or the Shutdown Edition, the end.
Because Democrats and responsible Republicans came together, the first government shutdown in 17 years is now over. The first default in more than 200 years will not happen.
On Friday, the president invited Senate Republicans to the White House for a meeting on ending the government shutdown and raising the debt ceiling. He then joined conference calls on the issue with governors and then with CEOs from across the country.
As you all know, the economic effects of a shutdown are bad enough. The consequences of defaulting on our debt could be catastrophic.
Later that day, the president heard from small business owners directly about how the government shutdown and the threat of the nation's default is having an impact on their business.
The American people are tired of governing by crisis, and it sounds like businesses are too.
Everything being this ultimate contest every few weeks is what slows investment. What slows what we do. We're all entrepreneurs here. We're very optimistic. We're taking risks. But it does tamp that down by having this be a constant fight, and 6 weeks doesn't help.
Later, the President and First Lady invited Malala Yousafzai to the Oval Office for a signing of a proclamation in honor of the International Day of the Girl. They spent some time talking about her incredible journey from student to international symbol of equal rights.
You are a perfect example of what this proclamation is about, which is how we can make sure that we're empowering young women everywhere.
On Monday, the president visited Martha's Table, a volunteer organization that provides food to children and families in the Washington, D.C. area. It's where furloughed workers were using their time to pitch in and help. He bagged sandwiches, spooned out Go-Gurt parfaits, and spoke on the ongoing shutdown in light of the debt ceiling deadline.
There are going to be differences between the parties. There are going to be differences in terms of budget priorities. But we don't need to inflict pain on the American people or risk the possibility that America's full faith and credit is damaged just because one side is not getting its way.
On Tuesday, the president presented former U.S. Army Captain William Swenson the Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry for his courageous actions in Kunar Province, Afghanistan, on September 8, 2009, while serving as an embedded trainer and mentor of the Afghan National Security Forces.
I think our nation needs this ceremony today. In moments like this, Americans like Will remind us of what our country can be at its best. A nation of citizens who look out for one another, who meet our obligations to one another, not just when it's easy, but also when it's hard, maybe especially when it's hard. Will, you're an example to everyone in this city and to our whole country of the professionalism and patriotism that we should strive for, whether we wear uniform or not. Not just on particular occasions, but all the time.
On Wednesday evening, the president spoke to reporters about the progress being made in Congress to avert an economic shutdown and reopen the government.
Democrats and Republicans in the House still have an important vote to take, but I want to thank the leaders of both parties for getting us to this point. Once this agreement arrives on my desk, I will sign it immediately.
On Thursday morning, the federal government once again opened for business. And the vice president stopped by the William Jefferson Clinton Federal Building to welcome EPA workers back to work.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, President.
Well, happy birthday. You're back. Thanks so much for being here.
Later that morning, the president spoke to the nation from the state dining room.
So let's work together to make government work better. You don't like a particular policy or a particular president? Then argue for your position. Go out there and win an election. Push to change it, but don't break it. Don't break what our predecessors spent over 2 centuries building. That's not being faithful to what this country's about.
The president then welcomed Prime Minister Enrico Letta of Italy to the Oval Office for a bilateral meeting, where they discussed promoting economic growth and new jobs, their support for the transatlantic trade and investment partnership, cooperation within NATO, and shared challenges in North Africa and the Middle East. To find out more information on any of these Let's Get Back to Work topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Sorry you had to go through all this, and my grandfather Finnegan would say, God willing and the creek not rising, we won't go through it again. Thank you.